Notice the ball and socket joint of the left shoulder in abduction medial rotation. Notice the hinge joint of the left elbow in full extension. Notice the plane joint of the palm in supination position. Notice the condylar joint of the left fingers in full extension. Notice the ball and socket joint of the right shoulder in abduction lateral rotation. Notice the hinge joint of the right elbow in slight flexion. Notice the condylar joint of the right fingers in full extension.
Notice the condylar joint of the left fingers in part extension and flexion. Notice the hinge joint of the left elbow in extension. Notice the ball and socket joint of the left shoulder in elevation, abduction, lateral rotation. Notice the condylar joint of the right wrist in dorsiflexion. Notice the hinge joint of the right elbow in flexion. Notice the ball and socket joint of the right shoulder in elevation, abduction, lateral rotation. Notice the hinge joint of the left and the right knee in full extension. Notice the plane joint of the left and the right ankle in plantar extension. Notice the plane joint of the right palm in pronation position. Notice the hinge joint of the right elbow in full extension. Notice the ball and socket joint of the right shoulder in depression, adduction, medial rotation. Notice the ball and socket joint of the left shoulder in depression, adduction. Notice the hinge joint of the left elbow in flexion. Notice the hinge joint of the left knee in slight flexion. Notice the plane joint of the left and the right ankle in dorsiflexion. Notice the hinge joint of the right knee in full extension.